What did some notable non-Muslim figures think about Prophet Muhammad? George Bernard Shaw, playwright, Nobel Prize winner. 1856 to 1950. I have always held the religion of Muhammad in high estimation because of its wonderful vitality. It is the only religion which appears to me to possess that assimilating capability to the changing phase of existence, which can make itself appeal to every age. The world must doubtless attach high value to the predictions of great men like me. I have prophesied about the faith of Muhammad that it would be acceptable to the Europe of tomorrow, as it is beginning to be acceptable to the Europe of today. The medieval ecclesiastics, either through ignorance or bigotry, painted Mohammedanism in the darkest colors. They were in fact trained both to hate the man Muhammad and his religion. To them, Muhammad was Antichrist. I have studied him, the wonderful man, and in my opinion, far from being an Antichrist, he must be called the savior of humanity. I believe that if a man like him were to assume the dictatorship of the modern world, he would succeed in solving its problems in a way that would bring it the much-needed peace and happiness. Michael H. Hart, astrophysicist and author, born 1932. My choice of Muhammad to lead the list of the world's most influential persons may surprise some readers and may be questioned by others, but he was the only man in history who was supremely successful on both the religious and secular level. It is this unparalleled combination of secular and religious influence which I feel entitles Muhammad to be the most influential single figure in human history. Thomas Carlyle, Scottish historian and philosopher, 1795 to 1881. It is a great shame for anyone to listen to the accusation that Islam is a lie, and that Muhammad was a fabricator and a deceiver. We saw that he remained steadfast upon his principles, with firm determination, kind and generous, compassionate, pious, virtuous, with real manhood, hard-working and sincere. Besides all these qualities, he was lenient with others, tolerant, kind, cheerful and praiseworthy, and perhaps he would joke and tease his companions. He was just, truthful, smart, pure, magnanimous and present-minded. His face was radiant, as if he had lights within him to illuminate the darkest of nights. He was a great man by nature who was not educated in a school, nor nurtured by a teacher, as he was not in need of any of this. How one man single-handedly could weld warring tribes and wandering Bedouins into a most powerful and civilized nation in less than 2 decades. The lies which Orientalists and haters of Islam had heaped upon this man are disgraceful to their own selves only. Johann Wolfgang Goethe, German writer and statesman, 1749 to 1832. I searched in history for the best human example and found it to be in the Arab prophet, Muhammad. Mahatma Gandhi, Indian leader, 1869 to 1948. I wanted to know the best of one who holds today's undisputed sway over the hearts of millions of mankind. I became more than convinced that it was not the sword that won a place for Islam in those days in the scheme of life. It was the rigid simplicity, the utter self-effacement of the prophet, the scrupulous regard for his pledges, his intense devotion to his friends and followers, his intrepidity, his fearlessness, his absolute trust in God and in his own mission. These, and not the sword, carried everything before them, and surrounded every obstacle. When I closed the 2nd volume of the Prophet's biography, I was sorry there was not more for me to read of the great life. Alphonse Lamartine, French historian and poet, 1790 to 1869. If greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astounding results are the 3 criteria of human genius, who could dare to compare any great man in modern history